You're a real son of a bitch.
Mr. Fullmouth, what's going on? Why am
Well, I mean,
What? What?
I say 6:45.
Yeah. So I gave you a few extra minutes.
Oh, well, you know.
Literally, wait a minute. Literally in that 8 minutes, you were compelled to stuff your face, knowing that the odds of me calling were greater and greater with every second that passed
Right.
after 6:45. I mean, you were just You were asking for disaster. You were asking for
Yeah, I was flirting with it. I
worlds
know.
colliding, and so here we are. What were you eating there,
Yep.
fatty?
I got a little meatball Parmesan hero.
There's nothing little about a meatball Parmesan hero.
No, it actually is little.
Maybe now after
disappointed.
you ate 3/4 of it.
No, they really came through with a small little. I'm not even saying it. It really is. It's really a little.
Was that by choice or are you
sandwich.
upset?
No, I didn't. I wanted a nice size one. This is not what I thought I was getting.
This is tremendous.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed in the and they don't give you French fries. This is the most disappointing thing. The place I ordered.
Put them on blast.
Put
them on blast.
No, because I can't, because I love their pizza. Their pizza is the best pizza in this area. I pay the extra. I DoorDash it because they don't deliver.
Here we are DoorDashing again.
Oh, I got a story about that. Don't worry.
Speaking of which, did you watch the new that TikTok I sent you with the Seinfeld? If it was today.
Yes, I saw it. Yes.
That's my new. By the way, that's my new favorite TikToker. I don't know his name, but
right.
He's done 11 of these. They're like modern day Seinfeld episodes, and he does.
They're hilarious.
He does all the male voices, and he nails them. Like you close your eyes, and you think it's the characters. The girl that does the Elaine stuff, not as on point for me, but at least he got a girl to do it instead of doing it himself.
Right, no, right, but he's hilarious and spot on.
Well,
the
writing is great. Like he's really thought these out and really put like real,
unlike me, I know,
real modern situations. Well, we'll get into that too. Real modern situations into a Seinfeld kind of situation. So go ahead.
Right, so I get it. I know. Go ahead, bury me all you want. Whatever. Go fuck yourself. So anyway,
well, I wasn't going to. You were like your guilty conscience got you all riled up.
PTSD. It's PTSD.
Well,
because you say it triggers me because you say it all the time.
Well, you're supposed to book guests for this show, and 2 months later, I'm calling Bobby Rogers to fucking
are we calling him today?
We are not, because you, Mr. Diva, who can't fucking do a podcast till 6:45 at night, it was too late for him. He's busy doing something. So I said, no worries.
Oh, come. Well, what is he doing?
Wait, it doesn't.
What is he doing? He's not doing.
He said he was on he was doing a Skype thing, but
fucking guy in on no Skype. Come on.
For all I know, he's got an OnlyFans and people watch him eat. But or at least
you're interrupting his dinner.
Watch him scrub his feet. But look, the point is that even me doing that legwork is 100 times more than you've done since you were given the reins.
You're the best, the king. Give you the crown. You know, when we win the
I know you're being sarcastic.
Golden Globe Award.
I know you don't really mean this.
You'll go up there. We'll all thank you. We'll be like, we'll skip thanking Jesus. We'll go right to you.
Yeah, well, rightfully so. What is Jesus? Who's Jesus ever beat? But
what has he ever done? Right.
But I mean,
put him on a podcast.
I know you're trying to be sarcastic, but what cuts through all of it is the truth, and you can't argue the truth. You just the truth. Give me an argument for the truth. Otherwise, all right.
I don't want to argue. I want to talk about food and not.
Well, I'm gonna veto that. I understand that you.
No, let me just tell the story really quick because there's a point to this.
Well, it better be entertaining. Like some of your food stories are just like the bullshit. They're just like, and the end of the story is, and so I made an angry tweet about it. And there's like no punchline. There's nothing funny happened in it. It's just about you not getting your burger or whatever. So
no, this is just listen and shut up for a second. So I order pizza in a timely manner, knowing I will be pulling in the driveway as it comes. Like I've got it timed down perfect.
Allegedly.
But this pizza place is so good. It's in another town, but they DoorDash. So it takes, it's about an hour to make it and deliver all that. So best pizza in town, hands down. And sometimes it's cold. I got to throw it back in the oven, but the pizza's so good. It's an 8.2. It doesn't even matter. Like we don't have 8.2s of pizza here. Like it maybe is an 8.5, but we don't have that in town. So I order from these people called I Love New York Pizza.
What's the difference between an 8.2 and an 8.5? Can you tell me what the difference is between those two? Or is that just a totally arbitrary fucking number you threw out?
Really, I just threw out a number.
Okay, I'm just checking.
So the pizza's fantastic. Anyway, they're from Italy, New York, here. My parents know them somehow from Florida. I don't even know how they know them. I have no idea. Anyway, I order the pizza, and I know perfect timing. Always. I'm always spot on with my timing. So I order. I've only ever ordered pizza, and sometimes a dessert. But whatever.
What happens if it gets there before you?
The kids. I told the kids.
Oh, ready. Okay. I don't know.
Right. I told Nick. I gave him the Iggy. Hey, and I'm paying attention. I got the DoorDash pulled up. Like I'm watching them drive. Like I know their every move, and I'm like, hey. They're getting close. Be on the lookout. We may be there at the same time. If I hit a little traffic, you never know. Just be on the lookout. He's like, all right. So anyway, I ordered for the first time ever meatball parmesan. Never ordered it there before. I want a nice hero, a nice hoagie. It's like they took a piece of the pizza's fantastic. The meatballs are fantastic, but the bread, it's like you ever see what they put like a lobster roll in? You ever seen that?
It's not bun. It's like a hot dog bun.
That's what they put this in. I'm totally disappointed. Small, but it tastes great. Anyway, I pull in the driveway, and I see next door a lady putting some pizza down on the floor and taking a picture of it. And I'm like, wait a second. So I check the app, and it says, your food's been delivered. I was like, to the wrong fucking house again. So I get out of the car. I'm not I don't even pull in my drive. I'm so angry. I stop the car mid pull in. I'm like, oh! But as I'm doing it, she can't hear me. Houses are pretty spread apart. My neighbor, he opens the door and he's picking the pizza up off the floor and he's like, yo, it's not my pizza. And I was like, yo, it's my pizza. So we're all yelling at each other. I go over there and she's like, oh, it said the address was the wrong address. I said, no, listen. I have spent $4,000 in 2 years on DoorDash. The address is right, sweetie. There ain't no wrong address here. This isn't my first time DoorDash.
Get out of here with the blame game. Yeah.
I'm a pro. Don't you? And then she goes, oh, I wish my app didn't disappear. I would have showed you. Bullshit. It keeps it in there. You think I don't know it tallies it up? She could have shown me. She realized she was wrong. So my neighbor gave me the pizza.
And of course you've already tipped her on this bad fucking service.
Oh, and with $8.60 tip. She got
especially, and then lying to your face. See, this is a problem. This is the problem. This fucking pre-tipping bullshit.
100% is the worst fucking gimmick in history. The worst gimmick in history. Because, and then the worst part, I had to walk over there to get the pizza. I should have made her get it and fucking drive to the next door over and bring it. But I was like, no, I really want. At this point, she doesn't deserve to touch my pizza no longer. So I went over there to get it.
Well,
anyway,
there's no honor in touching your pizza any longer. She's got the tip. It's go fuck you.
Right.
Go get it yourself.
I'm walking back though. I'm walking back, and I'm back on my property now, and I hear yelling, and I turn around, and she's waving at me from their driveway, and I'm like, what? She's like, you should just change it on the app because it was wrong. I was like, it ain't wrong. It ain't wrong. You're wrong, not me. And she's like, no, arguing with me from we're talking maybe a football field. I can barely hear her. That's how far we are.
What's your name? Ezekiel.
Right. It's like she couldn't let it go that she fucked up. And I was like, no, you're wrong. I'm pointing. She can't hear me. She just sees me pointing. I see her pointing at me. We don't know what we're saying. We're just pointing at each other. And I just went back in the house. But, yeah, I went back and looked. I was like, the right fucking address. At least I can look at that.
At least you hammer her with a bad review, right?
With a what?
Bad
review?
review?
I didn't even do one yet. it came up on the phone. I skipped it. I'm going to go back to it later. I was so angry I couldn't even give her a review at this point.
You should. But it just definitely sounds like you should definitely make a tweet at DoorDash because
Well, I'll tell you. Look, I've been really good lately with tweeting. Now, DoorDash, you make one tweet, $10 credit. $10 credit right off the bat. They don't even question it. $10 credit, boom. Or if I say, hey, delivered to the wrong house, boom, $10 credit. Easily $10 credit. A couple weeks ago, I got the whole $68 meal credited because I was like, you brought it to the wrong house. I overreacted. I oversold the whole thing. I'm like, the food's not good. It's cold, and now we have to eat this, and we don't have much money, and the poor family, and we like this is our one meal out of $68, and they credited me the whole $68 back. So I got one over on them, fuckers. But and did I tell a story about Dave and Buster's last week?
Yes. Please, let's not go into that again.
Oh, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to tell you one thing.
Did they respond?
I get an email yesterday, random email from a customer service agent, Dave and Buster's, that they saw that I have an account with them, and they've credited me now. They credited my account, so next time I go, games are on them. I was like, that's right, motherfuckers. That's right.
This scam is out of control. You are the digital age Bobby Rogers here. Listen.
No, listen. You're Scam Master Fresh over there. Don't even try me.
Yeah, okay? That's not me. That's my roommate. That's my roommate.
Oh,
I have nothing to do with any of it.
I know.
I'm just the cook. Yeah. I don't buy the groceries.
I don't know how it got here, officer. I just cooked it. I don't even know.
Right. Well, I don't grab the boxes. I don't steal the boxes. I don't do any of that. I'm just the cook. I don't check the bona fides on the fucking ingredients to make sure that the address is on the box is correct. I got bigger things to do. So so don't throw that at me. Just because I live with the guy doesn't mean
Okay.
I take a part in the evil doings of men.
Yeah. Evil. You're like the Danhausen of stealing food. I get it.
Right.
You're evil. You're evil, but not evil.
I'm very nice. Very evil.
Right. Anyway, so I got the pizza. I was able to shove one slice in and half of the meatball parm before you called.
Good.
Now the cannoli's still sitting there. We'll save him for tonight.
Listen, if you were doing this podcast with a mouthful of food, it's not like it's going to hurt anything. You're not. The quality of your contribution is already so low that right,
it wouldn't even matter.
Right, it's zero.
No.
100 times 0 is still 0. You know what I mean? So you're
right.
We're in the basement already.
No, we're good
with this fucking
operation. It doesn't
even
matter at this point.
Yeah, it's
right.
Plus it's small. You probably want to just kind of pace yourself so your body actually registers some food in it before you pack the rest of it in. It might be more satisfying that way.
True. We'll see. I'm gonna work out before I indulge in the next half.
Sure.
Lift the weights.
Lift weights the Aki way. Sure.
The Aki way.
Wrap it in pancakes and mozzarella sticks. Never. Like two people are laughing. Two people listening are laughing.
Right. I am going to New York in like 4 weeks for just like a day and a half.
You got to go there.
I gotta go see him. I've got to go see the Aki.
You got to do it. You got to film from the second you walk in till the second you leave.
But what I want to do is I have an idea. I want to bring him some Cadbury. Bring some British chocolate and be like, here's some Cadbury.
Oh, he's gonna
the Aki way,
that's
baby.
Gonna be awful. That's gonna be
the
awful.
point of it. I don't care about awful. I care about views, my friend.
Oh, don't know. I bet you. I want to know what the Aki way tastes like without you fucking throwing fucking chocolate in it.
Oh, who says I'm only getting one?
Sure. I don't know. I'm not big on that one. You should.
Never.
So
I did see a video though that he has like he's become a tourist destination.
Of course.
Yeah.
The TikTok's a real tool. If only some of our friends
you can rent him out, right?
Take it, You can rent him out.
You can rent Aki for your parties. I saw.
Why don't you explain to people who Aki is first of all?
Okay, so Aki, it's a place in like Brooklyn, New York, or something. He is a bodega shop. It's like a convenience kind of store, but they make like.
But they got
they
like
have
a hot
a grill.
Yeah, they got a grill in there to cook food, right?
Right. So Aki is a TikTok guy. He's the guy who runs the grill. I guess, I don't know if he owns the place, runs the grill or whatever, but whatever you give him, like you can say, here's 2 honey buns. I want a chopped cheese, which a chopped cheese is going to be like ground beef and cheese in a sandwich. You would usually do it in like a hoagie roll, but you could say, hey, I want a chopped cheese on these 2 honey buns the Aki way. And he does a whole video where he goes, you add the chopped cheese, and he like shows you. And the videos are not even high quality. No. They're like, sometimes he cuts like too early, and I'm like, he cut that scene too early, but he doesn't care because he's Aki.
Right.
And then he does his sandwich, whatever you want. I mean, sometimes he like Big E from WWE was there.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
He did do one. Yeah.
He did one with like their cereal, the Bootios, and like some pancakes, and like with the chopped cheese and. Like, I mean, it's just
everything's got
put whatever you want.
Cheese and fried mozzarella in it, and
fried
sausage,
mozzarella sticks,
and
right.
all kinds of shit.
It's totally not healthy, right?
Over the top.
At the end, he cuts it, and he says, don't forget the bev, which is the drink, the beverage, never, never, never. And then it's always like, the drink is always like an Arizona iced tea.
No, it's different. It's different things, for every person. It is different.
Like whatever the person takes for the drink. Right. Right. Most New Yorkers drink the Arizona tea or the Lipton.
But he's got like 2 signature lines. It's the don't forget the bev, never, 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 and then also the beginning when if someone's like, "Can I get a whatever the Aki way?"
Oh, right.
He goes, "Sure."
Always, yeah, sure. Right. So I feel like I have to go see Aki, but his TikToks are like you could watch 10 in a row and not be bored,
right?
Because it's always 10 different food items that you go, "How the hell did they put that together? Like, what made them think,
right?
You want to try it."
And they're always it's always a sandwich that's stacked. It's got to be at least
stacked
8 to 10 inches high, right?
Always.
And then he wraps it up in the sandwich wrap stuff, cuts it in half, and it's all kind of neatly compacted in there. And I guess you just peel the wrapper back and you eat it. It looks tremendous. That guy,
everything he makes, right?
Yeah, it's just some of the combinations. You're a little. You're like, I don't know.
Hesitant, right? Like, they're putting like a like a cupcake with a burger or something. You're like, no, I don't know about that, but I'll try anything, once. So, food wise.
I was gonna say that's what he said.
But yeah, Aki, I feel like I've got to go see him when I'm there. I really do.
You do, but you should message ahead and find out when he works. Because it's not like he's probably works a shift, so you don't want to go and then be like, oh yeah, he was here for 8 hours. You missed him, 2 hours ago he left.
So I was watching TikTok and I see what I was going to say was I see this party at some house in like the Hamptons of New York. And it's a bunch of overly privileged white rich kids who, you want to punch in their face. And they hired Aki to come cook for their party. And it was, he did the whole spiel, like, sure. And, does cooks on this big giant grill and they paid him to come. It was the most cringy thing because the overprivileged kids there were so cringy. I was like, oh my God, these kids are, it was almost like they were a spectacle to him. I felt like he was like a monkey in a cage. And I was like, I'm sure he's getting paid out the ass.
Yeah, but if
he probably does not give a fuck.
If he went to these people's houses and cooked for them for a couple hours, that was real money.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I seen a couple more, and I'm like, oh, Aki's out there working the scene right now. He's working the people for. I'm sure he's getting crazy paydays to come to people's houses for parties just to go, sure, don't forget the bev. Like he's not even doing anything; he's just cooking.
Right.
Well,
he's bringing his like big batch of food items that he would have at his. Right. I assume it's like that. He's like one man catering fucking thing.
Great experience.
It's like an overblown like omelet station is what he is.
Right. It was definitely interesting that he's doing that but I do gotta go see for sure. But speaking of TikTok, how that was today?
Hold on a second.
There we go. Weird thing. He hasn't been recording for 20 seconds.
No. It's I don't want there to be That's not bad. Let's take a break a second.
I'm here. Have we been recording?
Yeah, we were recording the whole time, but it looked funky, so I just didn't want to. I didn't want the whole thing to sound bad if it was starting to sound bad. Like it looked like there was like some kind of like feedback or buzz or something that wasn't in my headphones, but it was showing up on the recording thing. So whatever. Well, I mean, come on.
I'm sure if it sounds like shit, one of our 3 listeners will let us know.
Right.
Speedy, CJ, or Ann. One of them will let us know.
I mean, we used to have more regulars, but you piss them off all the time.
Well, that's what I do. I was at work today, and I'm like sitting in the office, and it's a store I don't go to very often. And I'm sitting there, and this guy who works there, like, kind of stops in the doorway, and he like puts his hands like on the doorway. He's just staring at me, like no words spoken. I've never met this guy in my life. I look up, and like we make eye contact, and I'm like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey." I was like, "What's up? How you doing?" He's like, "I just want you to know, your TikToks are hilarious," and literally just walked away. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, there was no other word, not even an introduction. Like, hey,
you're nearing 300,000. That's what's happening. But you're gonna get more and more random people that fucking spot you somewhere, and are gonna fucking.
But he said it and just walked away, like disappeared into the night, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Did you?
So I like telling the manager, I was like, "Where is he?" She's like, "I think he went home or something." And I was like, "That was the weirdest interaction. Like, there was no other words spoken. It was just like, I think your TikToks are hilarious." And I was like, "Thanks." And he just literally disappeared.
That made me think of that Cody Rhodes story he told the other day. Did you see that? Where he
about what?
About Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yes, that was funny.
Where he's like, I was working for New Japan Pro Wrestling and doing a show in like California, I think, and he said I had heard Stone Cold. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, was there.
Oh man, that came out of nowhere. So allegedly Stone Cold was there. He was friends with the promoter, and so he was outside, I guess outside in the parking lot or something, and Stone Cold like came up to him and started giving him like a little bit of advice on some things he saw. And he said, like the rest, like all the fans and press started to head their way, seeing that Stone Cold was talking to Cody Rhodes out somewhere accessible. And as they're starting to get dangerously close to it being a problem, Stone Cold pats him on the shoulder and walks off into the dark. And he's like, "I don't know where the fuck you went. I don't know if he turned the corner and sprinted, but it was like fucking Batman. Batman disappearing."
He just disappeared. Right. That was a funny story. Right. I'm not a Cody fan, but that was a good story.
Right. It's like the Field of Dreams type of thing, where the guy walked 3 feet into the
question. Right.
3 feet into the corn, he disappears.
Right. Was that even him? Did I even really see him?
Right. Was that all in my head?
Right. Did that really happen? Right. But that's what this kid. He literally, because it's funny, like The Office, the way it's set up, like. I didn't see that he was even in the area. Like, he literally just appeared at the door frame. I looked up and he was standing there. And then he just said what he said, and I said thanks. And he turned around, and right when he turned around, he goes out of the view because he's like behind the wall, and he was gone. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And they're like, "Yeah, I think he went home." And it would have been great if they were like, "Oh, that he died like 3 months ago." Like, what?
He's just a ghost that had to let you know.
Right. He just wanted to let me know my TikToks were great. But that was a funny take, because I will say it's been happening more and more often at work, and at even like in the. I don't think I told this. I was at Starbucks the other day, and I go inside. They know my name. It's like fucking Cheers. And I come out, and there is a car parked like 2 spots over, and it's a girl and like a mom, and they're like, they're looking at me, pointing, like smiling, like, and I'm like, okay, like, and I knew they were like reacting to me. There was nobody else there. I get in the car, and I no sell them because I was like, I don't even know what's going on. So I'm keeping my head straight. They get out of the car. As they're walking in, they're looking at me like, I get in the car, I start driving to work. I get a text like 20 minutes later from Lex, and she's like, "Were you at Starbucks?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh my God, my friend and her mom saw you," and they were like, "Oh my God, that's." And I said, "How do they know me?" She's like, "They from TikTok." they see me on TikTok, and then they were like, "Oh my God, your dad's famous." And then they saw me in public, and it was like they saw a celebrity. And
this
you know how
must
much
annoy.
that drives the kids is fucking. Oh, you know how much that drives them insane. They're like totally mad about it. You know that someone recognized me in public, and you know they've never seen me before in person. So this is the first
that anyone
time.
in their social circles marks out for you. It's got to
Right.
drive them absolutely fucking nuts.
Well, I got one even better for you. This is even better. This pissed off Lex even more. So when we lived in South Carolina, she had a friend who, they went to school together. Now I haven't lived in South Carolina in 5 years, I guess. Yeah, 5 years, maybe a little over 5 years. So, they had gone to school together and they were friends and like they, came to each other's houses, whatever. Well, I get a message on TikTok that says, "Hey, this is so and so's mom. She used to be friends with Lex when we lived in South Carolina." I immediately knew who it was. I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And she's like, "My husband her husband came to her that day, showed her a TikTok and said, 'This guy's fucking hilarious.'" And she was like, "Oh my God, like we know him." And he was like, "We don't know him." She's like, "No, that's Lex's dad. Do you?" And he was like, "Holy shit." They were blown away that it was me. And she's like, "I just had to tell you, like, he watches your videos and totally geeks out to you, and finally comes and shows me. He's like, I've been watching this guy. He's hilarious." And it's like, "Oh my God, like, we know that guy."
This must have been a long time ago because you're not funny anymore.
I was never funny. So I don't need, like, I think it was the beans on toast video. And that's what sparked, them to see me or whatever. And then the original one, not this one that not the repost, the lazy repost that got 1.8 million views. So I think that was funny. But, and then I came home and told Lex and she was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Well, just want to let you know, they don't even live in South Carolina anymore. They live in Pennsylvania." I was like, my reach is all over. I'm like Pitbull. I'm Mr. Worldwide. Like, I'm all over the place.
Well, we know your reach goes to the UK, but we figured that's the only place it really reached.
Right. No, apparently not. So, my 26% of American followers, they're still hanging on. Still hanging on to me. But
that's funny. That's so funny that your split is that big.
Yeah, it is. It's that big.
Because England is, at the UK in general, is such a tiny size piece of land compared to the United States, and you really have your whole following is just from this little couple of islands and not from this giant landmass that you actually live on.
And it's funny. I was talking to somebody recently from over there who. I really don't know. I don't know them very well. Like, it's a guy, and he just kind of was giving me some ideas about some food to try and some stuff. And he was like, "You don't know your reach here." And I was like, "I mean, I know it's like 70-something%." And he's like, No, I don't think you understand. Like you're a legend here." And I was like, "I'm not a legend." And he's like, No, like you're like a legend. He's like, "Everybody knows who you are. Like, you're literally a legend here." And I was like, "How the hell am I a legend there?" He's like, "I'm just saying, like, people know you. Like, people know who you are.
This sounds sus. This sounds a little sus to me."
So no, I thought so too, because I was like, "Come on." So I don't really look at comments anymore. I'll do for like the first couple, but sometimes too many comments. But I start to look through and I see people are like, "Will the legend respond?" Like, now, I remember being on TikTok and seeing that. Oh, my headphone died.
Here we go.
My headphone died. So I remember being on TikTok, though, early stages, and you would get excited if someone responded to, like someone of power responded to you, someone with a blue check mark or a couple 100,000 followers. So I keep seeing now people will write like, "Legend, will the legend respond?" And I'll respond, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, he really responded." Or if I like pick a comment to do a video about, people will be like, "I cannot believe you picked my comment. This is so amazing." And I'm like, it's really not. Like, if you saw me in person, you'd be like, "Wow, he's a fat piece of shit." Like, this guy is not what I thought he was. Like, very deceiving.
Right.
I only film from the chest up lately.
Right.
So
you stopped doing those bathroom dance videos, which
I did do a dance this morning, but the angle I made sure it was in the kitchen. It was angled right. I was wearing a loose fitting uh, Breakfast Club shirt. A different angle. I had to make sure I had a good angle. It's like one of those girls who catfishes on her like Tinder profile.
Well,
It's all about angles.
Yeah, above eye level is
Right.
where you got to take your photos.
Angles.
You got to start putting it on the higher shelf, the camera.
Right. Right. So I figured it all out. I mean, it's not my first go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a TikTok star. I can't help it. Like I don't know. Like I think it gets you as much mad as it gets the kids.
It doesn't. It doesn't. What gets me mad is you having this following, and us not we're not doing anything with it. We should have more people listening to the podcast.
Relax.
You gotta. There's no relax. There's the just I.
We're no Joe Rogan. I know.
I give up on you. Well, there's somewhere in between where we are and Joe Rogan, and I think we should be a little higher on the scale with the amount of people that you have. We need more British people tuning in.
Well, maybe the Brits don't listen to. I don't know. Maybe they don't listen to podcasts over there.
I find that hard to believe.
You don't think so?
I don't know. They got dreary desk jobs too over there that they need to fill their time 8 hours a day with some audio entertainment. I don't. I'm sure they do listen to podcasts.
Well, I mean, I did get an email this week that we're back in the Nigerian top rankings. So, give a shout out to our people in Nigeria who are they're listening at least.
No offense.
I don't know how many, but
and no offense to them, but I'm very surprised because I feel like of all the countries that we could be relatable to, we're way more relatable to like the United Kingdom than to Nigeria, especially with the amount of complaining you do about food delivery to your house. I feel like that's an overly privileged thing that's not as relatable. I just what? I don't think they have DoorDash there.
You don't know.
I said I don't think. That implies I don't know. But I have a hunch. Maybe in the big cities they do. Maybe that's where we're thriving.
Maybe we are.
The urban metropolises of Nigeria.
I couldn't even tell you one of their like cities, so I don't know. No clue. But yeah, so anyway, the moral of the story is I'm a TikTok star and it pisses the kids off. So what's better than that?
I mean,
and Nick, let me just tell you this though. This is where you're gonna love this because Lex getting mad is whatever. Mr. Nick, he tries to play it off as if I don't care about TikTok. You're a 41-year-old man TikToking, man. Like TikTok is stupid. He'll give you every.
But he posts
line.
TikToks.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I said, like you don't post, and he goes, he tries to downplay it, but I don't ever post. 2 days later, we're in the car, and he's like, "Well, I posted 500,000." I was like, "Oh, you want to go there?" And he's like, "What?" I go, "Listen, motherfucker, you sit there and trash me now you have a post that hits 500,000. You think you're somebody?" I was like, I hit that fucking a year and a half ago. You can go suck it, pal. Like you think you're like, and he's like, I'm not 41 years old. I'm not, I'm a kid. I'm supposed to be on TikTok. I'm like, you're not even, you will never be famous. Like, let's just you're going to be working retail the rest of your life, pal. Not that there's anything wrong with that because I work retail, but he thinks, you're not going to make it to the NBA. You're not, enough of your shit.
He's just mad that his dad at 40 years old is 20 times cooler than he is at 16, 17, whatever he is. He's
right.
Yeah. And everyone knows it. Like everyone at his school knows it. All of his friends and his friends' parents know it. It's got to.
And his friends come over and they've come over now and now it's automatic. They come in and they go, "What's up, Slambino?" It fucking drives him nuts because they go, "What's up, Slambino?" Or they'll be like, "Oh, there he is, the big Slambino," and he's fucking livid. He gets livid. Why do you have to call him that? why do you have to put my dad over? I'm like, because they know. They fucking know, pal. They are not hiding it like you. They know. They know. Yeah. So, fuck him.
Miserable. Nick the prick. Nick the dick.
He's tired. He had a couple days off in a row because they're gearing up for the grand opening. So the store's all set up. So he gets a couple days off, and he's like, "Oh, it's so nice to have some days off." I was like, "You've been working for 2 fucking weeks. I've been working since I was 15 years old. Like, get the fuck out of here with your, oh, it's nice to have a couple days off." I was like, you are absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, he's very tired. He's very tired. So
your son's ridiculous. This is going to be a ongoing rewards having him working. You're just going to be laughing at him every other day. He's going to have another.
Right. Just wait till that first check hits and he sees that they take the taxes out. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be in for a rude awakening because he's trying to calculate on his calculator on his phone how much he's going to make. I said, that's like, you're hilarious. He's like, what? If I make this? I go, bro, taxes. Well, how much could those be?
Famous last words, sucker.
Yeah. I won't tell him. He's like, I said, you can either Google it or wait till you get that first check. But you're going to go, what the fuck? The government took that much? Yes, they do.
Yes, they did.
He has no clue. So it'll be a nice smack in the face for him.
Beautiful.
Nice smack in the face. I knew you would enjoy that part.
Oh, I always love when your kids are miserable.
Right.
It's like a dessert.
It's like a dessert. It's like a reward.
Right, that's what I meant.
It's like a reward.
Like a reward. So yeah, I don't know, man. I had I went down a rabbit hole today. I was looking. Someone like popped up on my Facebook thread from like when I was like 15 years old. It was someone I went to summer camp with. Not like they reached out and talked to me. They just were. I saw them like as I was scrolling through something or other. I'm like, oh, that name sounds familiar. And it took me down a rabbit hole looking into my my old summer camp. We used to, my parents used to send me to Maine for 2 months every summer.
Wow.
To go to this summer camp. And it was crazy. It was insane. Like the shit that went on there, it's like you've seen it in movies. It's like Meatballs. It's like, because it was like
I was just about to say, please tell me it was like Meatballs. I was just about to say that.
It was during the 80s. It was all boys. So, it wasn't like that kind of stuff was going on. Although there were like, you would have these socials sometimes where a girls' camp would come over and then they had like a dance. And like, if you could slip out, there was lots of underage shenanigans going on. A lot of 13 and 14-year-olds, sneaking some digits where they don't belong, or getting a gibber or whatever, a humdinger, something or other. But we used to have we lived in these cabins, and they were like these wood, they were wood cabins, and they were split in half. You had like two. You would be in one side or the other, and down the middle was like a separator, and at the end it shared a bathroom. Like you could go into the bathroom and go through the bathroom and come out into the other bunk, and that was the only way you could get there. Or there was a space above the separator. The separator between the middle of the cabin was where everyone's cubbies were like up against it on either side. But in the open area up top, it's where you could climb up on the cubbies and look over and talk to people, or you throw wet toilet paper at each other or whatever.
Right.
But I remember one year, our counselor on our side woke us all up at like fucking, it must have been like at like 3 a.m. or something. And granted, these are like wood cabins with like screen windows, like no glass. No. So sometimes it got really cold in Maine, even though it was summertime. One day he woke us all up, and he gave us like a couple of bags of like peanut M&Ms and some drinks, and told us to all go over to the other side and hang out with those kids for a while, because he was there with 2 chicks, and he fucking.
Oh.
We were all At one point, some of us got a little adventurous and climbed up to this divider, and we were looking over, and he just had a threesome for like an hour with two chicks while we're all like just chilling on the other side.
Really?
And like there was one point where he's like smashing these girls, and we're like, there's like some of us peeking over the thing watching, and we're
right.
I mean, they're all in on the joke. They hear us giggling, et cetera, et cetera. But he's the only one that knows like that we're looking over the thing. They're not aware of it. And like at one point, he just kind of does like not almost like the Danhausen curse point. He just kind of points at us, flexes both arms, and then goes back to whatever he was doing. This guy,
that's fucking great.
I think his name was Luis, and he was from Spain, and he just
Luis he was powering him down with the Spaniard.
He sweet talked
Spaniard cock there.
Two middle of nowhere Maine towny girls into like the night of their lives, and with an audience of probably 15 to 20 13-year-olds.
Those girls probably talk about it to this day.
Maybe, because I sure am. And I remember another time we used to do these coastal bike trips, and well, there were coastal bike trips and there were canoe trips. And the canoe trips, you'd like drive your canoes up to a certain point on the river, and every day the guy that had the van would drive down to a point where we would meet them, but we would canoe down the river, canoe or kayak. There were different trips, and it was like these were like rivers with white water, kind of rapids and stuff like that. And then at that night we'd meet them at the campground, and we would camp, and then the next day we'd go further. And same thing the coastal bike trip was. We would ride bikes down the coast of Maine. Dude, those hills, you don't even know. Like I'd never in my life. Like some of those hills, you'd be like dead stop trying to pedal, and you'd have to get off and walk it the rest of the way up. One of those we had at the campsite one night. Stephen King fucking was there, hanging out, telling ghost stories. I swear to God. But on the big canoe trip, the final night when we were the 15-year-olds, I guess that was a rite of passage. Like for the 15-year-olds every year, it was kind of a tradition, unspoken, like not by the owners of the camp or anything, but by just the camp in general, like the counselors and the campers, that like everyone got drunk, So they had like 15-year-olds. All his 15-year-olds were drinking beer and well, like not shit-faced drunk, because it's kind of like, like how much beer can a fucking 15-year-old drink without like, just being sick from the taste of it. But there was that. I just remember one year we were doing, I think it was, I don't know if it was a bike trip or a canoe or a kayak trip. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe like 3 or 5 days. The big canoe one that I was talking about we were drinking was 7 days at the end. But I think we were like 13 or 14 on this trip. And they pulled like the rib of ribs on us. We were there, and we were at this campground, and we had the 3 vans there. I think this was the last night. We were going to camp there and then fucking head back to the summer camp. So we're camping in these tents and whatever. They told this story about, because there was always any summer camp you go to, there's stories about the guy in the woods, like a Joe. I think usually his name's Joe Cropsey or something. It's kind of like the hook on the door, kind of with the guy with no hand. This guy, this guy would steal people, and you would hear him chopping in the middle of the night. And then when you would wake up the next morning, you would find a couple of their fingers in the fire pit. Once the fire had burned out, in the morning burned out fire pit would be, and that's all you would find of the person. You'd never find the people. So they tell this fucking story. They do this tremendous job telling it. And then we all go to bed, and like 2 hours later, we hear like all the counselors outside like doing this panic talk of like we got to get out of here. I was like, we got to find the kid. We don't know where the kid is, and blah blah blah. And they're doing it enough to wake everyone up that are in the tents. And then they're like, we got to get him.
Groggy because you're getting up. You're like, what?
And they're like, we got to get him. At least get him out here at the park benches. There were like a bunch of like benches, like the tables with the benches. Right. And they're like, we just need to get a head count. We need to see how many people are missing. And so they get us out, and they're trying not to tell us what's going on, but they had told us that horror story before, so we're putting two and two together, and like we're freezing, and we're like these scared fucking 13-year-olds. All of a sudden, you just hear way out in the woods, like a mile away, chop, 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 like someone banging like a big log into the side of a tree or something, like or they took an axe out there, something. Everyone started screaming and panicking. This one kid, I think his name was Mike, he was kind of like a chubby guy, threw up all over himself. And
because he was nervous.
I was just like, he was crying, he was like hyperventilating, and like between the two,
was crying.
In between the two, I think he just made himself sick,
Right.
And then they're like, once the chopping started, they were like, get in the vans. And I think like we came in like 3 vans, we piled into one. And the fucking counselor, like, this is how much they were selling it. He must have been driving like 65 miles an hour in the dark down this path, like really selling that we were getting the fuck out of there. And then one of the guys was like, what about so-and-so? Like, we forgot one of the counselors or something that had gone looking for the kid. And he like slams the brakes on, and it starts turning around, and there was like a revolt in the van. Like, you've got like fucking 18 kids screaming like, fuck
like,
you,
no.
And so he's turning us around, and everyone's in fucking like just choking, crying, pissing themselves, whatever. They go back and somehow, somewhere along the way, they let the rib up. But I swear to God, it's still maybe one of the top 4 ribs that I had ever been.
How long did this go on for?
Oh, like a good 45 minutes. Between like...
So a long rib.
Between like, well, I mean, if you want to go, since they started telling the story, but once they woke us up and all that chatter outside the tents to get us like scared and then worked up to where they're driving off in the distance and the chopping in the woods and whatever, it had been a good 45 minutes.
That's solid. Yeah. Solid rib.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it traumatized anyone, like, legitimately, because they let, at the end of the day, they're like, okay, it's a rib, and they're laughing at us and everyone's mad, but, it's at least we're not going to die,
Right.
But I don't know if anyone got, like, actually traumatized, but that's the kind of shit that they would do at this camp. There was also it's like most of these camps, especially I think maybe in general, but definitely in Maine, they're all like based on lakes. So you can have all your like a dock, and you can have swimming and sailboating and kayaking and all that shit. But this camp, there was a small island. Like, I mean, you could swim to it, but it was a long fucking swim. It was definitely like a 30-minute paddle to it. And this island used to be where all the seniors, like, you had like younger kids and older kids in the camp, and all the seniors, the older groups, like maybe like 13, 14, and 15, used to all live on the island. And the island is like half of it's burned down. It's all abandoned and overgrown. All the buildings are still there. And they had a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, because, whatever, but the ghost story of that was that a chef there went crazy and started killing people and burned himself in the camp down, and that's why no one lives over there now. But we could go.
They don't use it for a reason, though.
Well, maybe logistics too hard to have like people living over there and here. I don't know what it was, because an island. Maybe if you had a medical emergency, it's like such a hassle to get over there. So I don't know what the real reason was, but when we went, I went over there a couple of times. Not only did I think like this is the perfect place to film horror movies, but it was like everything you could imagine. Like, all the buildings are still there. Legit, 2 or 3 of them were burned down or like partially burned, and so you're there creeping yourself out because you've heard the like.
You don't know why, right?
You've heard about the fucking the chef who like supposedly killed himself and killed these kids and supposedly burned to death, but they never, it's always they never found the body. So you're like over there, and every twig you hear snap or whatever, you're turning around half hoping that you're not going to see some half-burned fucking chef with like a cleaver in his hand and the white like chef's like you just the whole uniform.
Right.
Like, oh my god.
Right.
Yeah. So there's but that fucking rib with the chopping in the woods, and how they never found the kids, but there would always be like a couple of fingers in the fireplace after you heard the chopping in the woods. Man,
that's a great rib.
I've never seen kids terrorized in such a way as a rib.
That's a fantastic rib.
Like by people that like are responsible for your lives, like and all those
all summer.
And all those guys are like early 20s, like late teens, early 20s. They're like when you graduated, well, not graduated, but when you could only go attend the camp as a camper till you were like 15. And I think like starting at 16 or 17 you could be a counselor. So you're talking like how young these guys were that were like in charge of like us.
I did camp counseling one year at it was a private school who did camp. They had a camp. Now it wasn't overnight, but it was like an all day. Like it was like 7 a.m. to like 8 p.m. And I was a counselor. Somebody had like hooked me up with a job. Like, oh, you need a job. Like, you want to do this camp. And it's funny because one of the guys, he ended up playing in the NFL. I don't remember. He played for, I don't remember. He was a running back, but he was like one of the top running backs in the country in college at like Rutgers or something. And he was like in between going to the NFL, and he was there like at the camp. And I was like, what the hell? This guy's like I knew who he was because I was like, this guy's like a top running back. And he was like, I've been doing this since I was a kid, and this will be my last year I could do it because I'm going, I'm going to play big time ball, right? So. Well, no, he was already at Rutgers. He was doing this in the summer, and it was his last year because he was going to the NFL. So he was like, this is the last time and I'm going to go to the NFL, which I thought was cool that he was still doing it. But it was just ingrained in him. But that camp was that was a pretty fun time, and it wasn't even overnight, but it was all day, and we played obviously jokes and stuff, nothing like at that level. But the one thing I do remember is the other, camp counselors, some of the females, of course, it was definitely, it was definitely fair game for everybody. So, definitely had some wild times with some fellow camp counselors, because we were like teenagers, like I think we were like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And so some of the other camp counselors were same age, and I mean, sneaking off on the out like in the wooded area, and you look over there and someone's getting the other camp counselor's giving one a humdinger. You're like, whoa, But I never went to camp. My parents never sent me to camp. I feel like I missed out.
It's expensive. Like my parents always sent me. I went from when I was 10 to 15.
Right.
My brother didn't dig it, and my other brother was like doing math camp stuff. He was. So
your parents hated you and they wanted you gone.
No, and my sister went to camp. She went to, but hers was like hers was the one my mom went to as a kid, and they had like fucking horses and shit. Like we didn't have horse riding and shit. That's like a whole nother stratus. But we had this place was huge. We had baseball, we had fucking tennis, soccer.
Right. I never got to go to camp.
Archery, rifles, all kinds of shit.
They really fucked me over.
Dude, it's crazy. Like some of the shit is just fucking nuts. My camp counselor the last year I was there, he was like, he was a G. He had like worked as a DJ, and he had his car had bulletproof glass because he worked for a while as a courier in DC, delivering like fucking like important paperwork between like offices and stuff like that.
What the fuck?
So he had to have like, maybe this is him being full of shit now that I'm thinking about it.
Right.
But
he definitely worked you.
You never know. But he said like his passenger door and his windshield were like bulletproof glass. And I don't remember how he should. But
I think you were full of shit and lied to you, but okay.
Maybe I totally got work, but
you thought there was a fucking guy in the woods cutting off knuckles and a chef that burns town. Anything's possible at this point.
I think that might have been my. Now here we're getting into some ridiculous stuff. I think that was my earliest caught with a boner fucking story.
Oh my God.
I think I got hurt, and I went to they took me to the camp nurse, and she just lived there, you know, and they had a little medical area way out off the beaten path. At some years you had a hot chick doing it, and other years it was, you know, it was a doctor and his wife, or something. But this year, like, it was Tits McGee. It was some hot young girl with titties out on her, and you're sitting there on a table or whatever. I think I had like cracked my head into something and I was bleeding, and she's like, you know, getting too close with those tits, like fucking like they're just in my face while she's looking at my head, and you know, she's like with the fucking voice and the whatever else, and I think I got a boner. And I think I was just there with a fucking. I'm really trying hard to remember. I think I was just in my swimsuit because I think I hit my head doing something while we were over by the lake.
Oh.
And so I'm kind of pitching, and she looks down and she says, "You better get rid of that thing before you head back." And she flicked it.
No, you're kidding me.
I fucking flinched, jumped, howled, whatever. So like the whole thing, like flicked the tip of it, just went bing. Like, you better get rid of that before you go back, and went pop.
Oh my God!
Flicked the head of my little fucking 12-year-old boner, or however old I was.
Oh my God!
I don't remember how the rest of it went. I think she broke down into tears laughing, and I really don't remember because I was probably just doing pain management at that point.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
I mean, it at the time, sure, but yeah, you never know. I mean, listen, you hear about all these crazy teachers now. I mean, you never know. I was you know. At least my equipment worked. Maybe she would have been interested in it. You never know how these stories are going to go until they go. I got the old flick of death, you know, because apparently times have changed, you know.
Wow. Good story. Yeah, I never got to go to camp. Like, I was deprived.
It's yeah, you kind of were. You did kind of miss out.
Yeah. I played sports. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all we did. That's all camp was. It was just.
I just traveled around playing baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look where that got you.
Absolutely nowhere. Yeah. So, well, all right.
I know. I hear you eating.
I got a cannoli. I just chomped down while you told your boner story. I ate my meatball parm, and now I'm looking at another slice of pizza here because
you're welcome.
I need pre-workout. So, all right. That's all I got. By the way, I'm into Marco shape. I just want to let you know that. I did change his name on the thing, by the way.
I was wondering, would you call him the athlete?
Because he wrote, "I almost feel like an athlete." I was like, this fucking guy. The athlete. Yeah. So,
I think it's time for you and me to show him up.
Come on. All that just to work the Boondong Gator King.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He's going to go. He's putting 3 months of fucking hard work in to go do a mud show with a fucking mud show wrestler.
Right. Exactly. So, all right.
Who may or may not retire in spite before then.
Right. We don't even know.
Because someone called him a mark online.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm done with you.